Very proud day for our club, APIA Leichhardt, celebrating the premiership for the first grade, the under-20s, and also the under-14s. A huge shout out to all our major sponsors. Without your support, we wouldn't be the club we are today. Of course, West Ashfield's nearly a 40-year relationship with the club. Thank you very much. Vanilla Cheeses in Marrickville, Pisania Properties, Wahlburgers, United Simners, ICM Property Services, Nick Rizzo Football Academy. Of course, the Canada Bay Club, Emerson Lewis Lawyers, Nick Rizzo Football Academy, and there are many, many, many others. Thank you very much for your support. The match is about to be starting in a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, so sit tight. Should be a cracking game for your viewing pleasure today.
Very good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Coronation Day in Leichhardt. APIA making their way onto the pitch here. Anointed state men's premiers for the 7th time and hosting St George City, who need a miracle to secure finals football. And so it's pressure-free football. Two teams who are capable of producing sexy football. It should be a fun 90 minutes. And after last weekend's tense tight affair, to seal that premiership in Adenza Park, APIA will appreciate the opportunity to let their hair down a little and ease into the final series with plenty of rested legs. Although Franco Parisi has named a pretty strong lineup for this afternoon's 90 minutes. For St George City, a loss means little, and so why not go down swinging? And why not push the newly crowned premiers a little to end your campaign? Let's have a look at the two lineups. APIA make 3 changes from the 0-0 draw against Sydney United last weekend. Oli Kalatz in goal behind a back four of Cameron Fong, Temba Mwatamalu, wears the captain's armband again. In fact, he's given it to Sean Simmons today, who is in at left back. Kyle Shore's new central defensive partner, with Eijin Kishimoto dropping out. Franz Deli in the midfield in place of Eddie Kaspers, alongside Fabian Monge. And behind Michael Conestavo, Stewart and Jordan flanking Presley Ortiz, who is still just a goal shy of a potential regular season golden boot. And he could get it against his former side today. St George City had their 4-game winning streak cut off by that loss to Sutherland last weekend. Unfortunate defeat out at Seymour Shore. 4 changes for Mickey Ural today. Jack Kenny resumes in goal. Solly John Monahan Viker, Ben Berry, Tariq Urkan, Tep and Lewis Mitchell, the new look back 5.
Please, ladies and gentlemen.
And we are going to observe a minute's silence here for just a moment. Finish this St George City lineup. Spencer Webster, Jim Clarkson, Lewis Curry,
goalkeeper's coach had a family member pass away. So 1 minute, please.
Malik Ahmed.
Thank you. And now for the home team, the mighty home team after
Malik Amin, the 19-year-old, making his first
number
start
6, Franz Deli.
up front
Number
since
7,
the start of July. He scored and
Number 8,
got a goal as well on
Number
his
9,
starting debut.
Number 11, Rory Jordan.
See if he can repeat the trick today, the 19-year-old. Plenty of youth in this St George City lineup. Perhaps a view to next season. He is focused firmly on the final series. We're going to enjoy the next 90 minutes. A coronation in the sunshine, a celebration as much as a football match awaiting us. Thank you for your company here at beautiful Lambert Park. I can't think of anywhere better to be on a Sunday afternoon, the final Sunday of winter, and it feels as though the dog days of June and July are well behind us. Heading towards Australian Championship weather, which after the final series is what APIA will be looking forward to again. Looking to add another piece of silverware to their laden cabinet. 7th premiership, which takes them 1 shy of Sydney United, and Blacktown City is this state's most decorated in terms of finishing top of the table after the regular season. Looking to become back-to-back champions over the next 2 weeks as well. Another date with Destiny down at Jubilee Oval, they hope. On last year's grand final showpiece against Rockdale Illingdon, the opposition will be different this time around. They'll be hoping for a similar result, particularly after being knocked over in the Cup final, denied a League Cup double, their first in New South Wales since back in 1975. Did do an NSL double of League and Grand Final in 1987. High-scoring Rod Brown got 14 for them that season. Presley Ortiz is going to pitch his name into similar folklore after this campaign. Fabian Monge playing the first attacking ball forward. Interesting to see as well how St George City set up today. They've reverted to the back four, and winning has followed that tactical adjustment. Last weekend against Sutherland, a much more proactive version of the team that were set up so stoutly for the majority of the year. The French star, Lucas Bedleg, not playing through the entirety of the season, not in the squad this afternoon. So scoring 3 and 6 after signing for the club and really pushing them towards the finals. They are still a mathematical possibility, but you need to win by almost 10 clear goals in order to bridge the gap to the top 6, as well as needing results elsewhere to go their way. So, as we said, a pressure-free afternoon for both these teams. Hopefully it lends itself to some open, attractive football. APIA we've always known are capable of under Franco Parisi. 4th trophy in a 4th season in charge. He's never won 2 in the same campaign, which is the next bridge to cross. Certainly the mentality of the staff and the players here at APIA is that winning is an expectation. So a lot of feeling of relief around it at Enza Park, as much as there was of celebration. I'm told it was enjoyed suitably on Sunday evening. Still very much a view of more work to do. Fabian Monge, 2-time Premiership winner now. His last Premiership campaign led to some time in the A-League men's with Melbourne victory. We've already lost a couple of the young starters from this campaign. Max Gordon and Oscar Gonzalez are gearing up for A-League men's campaigns now. They are suitably stocked. Rory Jordan, who has really struggled to get in the team for the majority of the year, being retained in the name of continuity today, but also because his form has been so strong. Feeling his why interrupt what has worked so well. Very few players in danger of suspension. Michael Conestabbo suffered for the final series as a Premier with Spirit last season. Sent off on the final day with the Premiership already wrapped up, and he starts again here today. I do wonder whether Franco Parisi just had 1 or 2 thoughts about that. The Spirit team that played without him against Rockdale last year's semi-final were knocked over. Didn't get the chance to face his future employers in the biggest game of the season. 8 concurrent games being played across NPL New South Wales. Victoria had their showpiece day in their men's competition yesterday. And there's been a feast of football, and I'm sure there's some of you down there with a couple of screens going, taking in all the action. Finals place is still right up for grabs around the competition. The first shot in anger of the afternoon went the way of the included Malik Amin. Team to impress. Looking to lock in their future and make an impression, and their opportunity to start. Still only 19 years of age, Malik. Looks to have a very bright future. Signing from the Marconi Stallions in the middle of the season. Cameron Fong playing down the line towards Jack Stewart, who's also part of that 2023 Premiership. A point today, and APIA will better their points total from that season. Eerily similar campaigns in terms of what they've done. Possibility to notch up one more win than they managed 4 years ago. or 3 years ago, I should say. Need 3 goals to match the 65 they managed in that campaign. Mention those 7 premierships. If they tops up another point, it will be the most ever in New South Wales state football that this club has been able to compile. 30-game season assist in that, of course, but maintaining a point tally of well over 2 a game is something to be admired. Having said that, they didn't fall far short. 64 points totted up last year. The fine margins between becoming premiers and chasing the tail of Spirit as they were last year. City have been helped by having Tariq Erkan available to them towards the back end of the season. He's been affected by injuries, and as you see, Brodie Clarkson hitting the deck. Not a particularly conspicuous challenge which has taken him there, which is probably even more of a worry. And I think given the circumstances, there'd be no point risking him. As much as I'm sure someone with the hunger of Brodie Clarkson wants to be out there playing on an afternoon like this. He can really stroke the ball around this terrific playing surface at Lambert Park. Keeping conversation with the physio and a few of his teammates and pointing towards the sideline, so let's hope that's not the end of his afternoon, but it's looking as though it's a distinct possibility. Step into that role if need be. Ted Tebb on the bench today, Masin Tatafu as well. The screeners. Solomon John Monahan Viker into midfield as well if needed. He's up to his feet, but St George City continuing with 10 for the moment. Jordan looking to get at Amin, who is being called in to help out defensively. 2017 gold medal winner Sean Simmons. Guatemala. Stewart. On Stabo, this is where APIA are looking to get the bit between their teeth. A hopeful appeal for a goal kick from St George City's skipper Erkan, but to settle for the first set piece of the afternoon. Will be Simmons over to swing this one in. Just his 3rd premiership he's been part of, but go back all the way to him winning that gold medal in 2017. That was his first with APIA. With the club since 2014. He made the move across as a 21-year-old. Been here ever since, and he's lobbing that ball deep. It's nodded behind by Clarkson, who's returned. His presence felt, nodding the ball behind. So it'll be left to Michael Connor-Stabo to deliver from the other side of the ground, which is shaded a little by the trees behind the goal. It looked like it was Mitri who got his head to the ball. Throw his APIA's, whoever got their head on it, it was a white shirt. Good crowd in, a packed Joe Marston Pavilion, as it always seems to be here at Lambert Park. Good number in the stand on the broadcast side of the ground as well. There's a feeling of contentment and satisfaction looking into the place today. Plenty of the juniors around, sporting their maroon and blue. Celebrating what has been a great season for the club, not just at first grade level, the premiers of the 20s as well. Under 14s finishing top of the ladder. Down in the youth Youth League. Curry just chopped off fair and square by Guatemala, who'd read the situation well. Difficult one for Salah to control, but the press of Mitri nearly won the ball back. You see the cool-headed nature of Kyle Shaw. Gave it to Eiji Kishimoto today. An interesting little decision to make for next Sunday's semi-final. Franco Parisi about who partners Tema Guatemala in the heart of defence. He's got a few fit options back, which has not been the case for most of the season. It's a little bit makeshift back there. Sean Simmons playing a couple of the cup ties they've gone through, including the one against Melbourne Victory as a centre half, which is certainly not his natural position. It's been a big ask. I mentioned that they'll tot up the most points if they are to take home more pieces of silverware. APIA, it'll be the most games they've had to play to get them as well in the club's history. Adrian Uchino barking instructions from the touchline, asking his team to press, and almost high enough to win the ball back. Two trains of thoughts on the way that APIA clinched the premiership last weekend. Not that their fans will care about that narrative whatsoever, but the fact that it was just out 0-0 draw. That's the way that the league falls at different times, but also I thought that the fact they were able to defend so stoutly in the last 20-25 minutes is a mark that they perhaps have completed their evolution as a team. Not just want to dominate and play with the ball. They've always been able to do that, but to withstand pressure from capable opponents as well. They did brilliantly against Sydney United, and that man, Guatemala, was right at the heart of it, back in the team for the first time in a month. There's some lower leg problems. Darting away is Curry. Strikes the ball into the heel of Shaw. Awkward one for Simmons, who thought his way out of it and used his head physically as well. Knocked the ball back to Oli Kalatz, who will be in discussions for goalkeeper of the season. Made one fine save in the dying stages against Sydney United after essentially knocking them out of the Australia Cup single-handed with 3 saves in the penalty shootout a few weeks ago. Interested to see how Michael Kuda's comments. He's not in the squad today, but some social media going around. A podcast appearance after the premiership. So, don't care who we get. They don't want to play against us. And for the majority of teams around the league this season, that has definitely been true. I'm sure Sydney United and Marconi will both like their chances. APIA are going to rightly go as favourites into the final series. Such a big advantage having the midweek off as well. Something APIA have been able to deal with during the Australia and Waratah Cup runs, but exciting stages of the season where little knocks and niggles begin to build up. See, Paulo Mitri scored a wonderful goal last weekend. That right knee taped up. Curry. Dispossessed fairly by Monch, and Stewart's away with the football. Erkan retreating. Ortiz wide. Options in the middle. Very well positioned to steer the ball clear of danger. Monch. Stewart tidy. Falls delivery cut out by Erkan. Curry with a rather agricultural clearance. Something we were seeing from St. George City a lot more earlier in the season. Set up deep today, but not as deep as they did it sometimes through the mid part of the year. They really were struggling for results, and engaged in the relegation battle, totted up with signings during the registration window, steered themselves well clear of danger, so that they come into today stress-free, capable of playing balls like that, held up by Saba. Micho overlapping. Very well read by Sean Simmons. You can see him fighting the sun as that ball was steered in low. Micho regathers and keeps the attack going. Trying to link up with Spencer Webster, not quite able to find the teenager on that occasion. Webster and Saba have been a big part of the turnaround as well. Saba a signing from Bulls Academy last year, experience in that League One campaign. Webster, a club junior, only made his debut earlier this year. Has started 5 straight games now since the match-up with Sydney in 1958. St George City avoided defeats against this season, quite remarkably. Much of the struggles they had earlier this season, they're the only team in the entirety of the competition to beat all of the top 4 this year. Showed they can match it with the best. It's been a little trickier at different times, getting the better of the teams around them. Is ultimately what's going to cost them finals football. There can be encouragement taken from the performances against the big boys. Speak about eerily similar, the campaign a year ago where they finished 9th, sorry, 37 points. They come in today on that number. Stewart getting down the right-hand side, flying across with Saba. Diligent in his defensive duties, but has had to concede the corner. See the energy that he and Amin down the other flank are expending to try and track both the wingers and the fullbacks that come with them. Fong and Simmons will both look to get into attacking positions, particularly on a day like today. Flying out was Kenny. He's had a pretty solid campaign in the St George City goal as well. He's been assisted by that sturdy defence, but has made some stunning saves. One of the better shot stoppers in the comp. He might have one to save here. Berry prevents the ball from reaching his gloveman. Clever from Monge. Saw Webster in his peripheral view. Just sidestepped him. Not answering the pressure whatsoever. Delhi's ball inside was blind, but it's picked up by Monge again. Jordan trying something tricky to take the ball in his stride. What a mean with a gorgeous first couple of touches. Eventually wrestled off it by Conestabo, who gets the ball back off Delhi. Good flowing football from APIA, cut off by the offside flag. Which eventually sees the whistle blown from Hayden Langholz, our match official today. Hossein Hosnani, assistant on the near side of the ground, who flagged Rory Jordan offside there. Interesting. So what we do as commentators, we ahead to what the next thing is and watch the final series and what sits ahead for APIA. That double winning campaign in the NSL in 1987 was fondly remembered here. It's still flashed up on the scoreboards. It goes through the montage of all the great moments in APIA history. Haven't managed to win both the Premiership and the Championship in New South Wales football since they first won the Premiership back in 1964. Denied the opportunity to do it the last time they won the Premiership because New South Wales experimented with getting rid of the final series. The clubs didn't let that last too long. Guatemala. For Stewart, cut out very well by Micho. Wanted today. As much as I've talked about celebration and ceremony, will be the awarding of the Premiership to APIA at the end of the game here today. See the trophy around on display in the club shop pre-game. Players, they'll be understanding it's about maintaining standards, going to an intensity that's going to leave them in the best stead for next Sunday's fixture against whoever gets there to play against them. Keep going up his way. Gerald's not taking things like it's just a walk in the park this afternoon. Wasn't too happy with that decision being given against his team. The quality of this competition continues to improve year on year. The competitiveness is the baseline. It's two very competitive sets of players out there today. A chance for Rory Jordan to open the scoring. Blazes the ball wide. And for the first time here, the fans could get their hopes up of seeing the opening goal, really. Darted in on his right, and usually so effective there, Jordan, in just tucking the ball away. Didn't quite get the bend required on the ball that time around. Really had to work his way into the team. Scored goals in big games, Rory Jordan. It's played a whole heap of them in his career, but some Waratah Cup finals and the like. He'll win another free kick. Stabo for Jordan. He's had a fine start to the afternoon. He's starting beyond Wanahan Vigo, who was happy to watch him over the byline and out of play. Kenny's been fairly comfortable in the St George City goal to this point. St George City stick with their principles as well and try to play out here. It was not quite as they drew it up. Wry smile from Lewis Curry. Didn't look as though he particularly wanted to be played the ball in that sort of position. Certainly a capable technician, Curry, but that's a lot of white shirts for him in support that time around. Nice little 1-2 between Monj and Delhi. Shaw and Guatemala. Monj for Shaw. Simmons and now Jordan. Darts inside Monahan Viga. Slips the ball in for Conestabo. Opposition to Afghan. Only held up the attack rather than destroying it completely. Delhi. Monj looking for an angle and wasn't too far away. Had Kenny diving away for his left-hand post. Never too worried that the ball was going to sneak inside and be tipping around the post. The voice you can hear from the far side is Adrian Uchinos. He's the one driving the intensity from the APIA Leichhardt team. Presley Ortiz is the man defending from the front. He's such a pain in the backside to play against as a defender. Never a moment's peace. Clarkson cool enough to see off Jordan's pressure. Very free enough to carry the ball clear. City escape via the throw-in. Quarter of the way through the game. A clear-cut chance for St George City early, but APIA have had two in the last 5 minutes. Without forcing Jack Kenny into a meaningful save yet. Fates from elsewhere. This does affect APIA because looks as though they're likely to steer clear of Sydney United or Marconi until the grand final at the moment. We'll get back to that in a moment. Webster plays his ball across, cuts off, and then Clarkson too firm in his challenge on Michael Conestabile. And upset the APIA players, particularly Sean Simmons, having a few choice words with Clarkson, but Clarkson's argument will be, well, I only held my ground. Conestabile had left his feet, and referees tend to take a dim view of players taking the legs out from under a player in the air, as Clarkson did there. How much of the fault was his is debatable. Sydney United leading 2-0 against St George FC after half an hour there, and Spirit leading Marconi by a goal to nil. So Sydney United's favourites to finish second at the moment. Ortiz. Kenny did enough to turn the ball behind. It's unorthodox. Not sure whether Ortiz was sure he was shooting or passing there. Went into a dangerous area nonetheless. Needed the goalkeeper's intervention. Short corner from Conestabile, whipped in by Delhi. Away by Monahan Viker. Might be able to escape here, Webster, and Fong was not too keen on letting him do that. APIA not too keen to let St George City take the free kick quickly either. You can see the energy and enthusiasm of Webster. He's got more just than that in his kit bag. He's got some pretty stylish feet. Quick turn of foot. Fong couldn't deal with on that occasion, not legally anyway. Ortiz leads the press. Kenny plays around him to Ben Berry. And Simmons pressure enough to force the turnover from Amid. A few potential debutants on the bench today for Ural as well, if he wants to go down that route. It's a young squad that he's named today. Eduardo Dardas, the youngest of those, 17-year-old, has spent most of the year, a little bit of 20s, but most of it playing under 18s football, and suggests he's quite highly thought of. Pulled into the matchday squad today. Eden Hiatsu as well, who's featured on the bench a couple of times, and regular in the 20s, yet to debut for the first team in the league. Measured by Kalas. Ball one back by Curry. And Delhi tidies up his own error. He doesn't see it that way. Strong word with Aidan Langholz as he played the ball back to his goalkeeper. And Conestabile might have found some space. Monge. Heavy first touch. Berry was commanding in the challenge. Half an hour played here. Seen about a clear-cut chance every 10 minutes. Kenny's got one of the biggest boots of a goalkeeper in the competition, trying to measure that one, and we're a bit off. And I've allowed APIA in. Corey Jordan just not able to bring the ball under his spell. Still keeps the attack alive. Conestabile claimed he was blocked off, but Curry just looked well positioned. A nice touch from Monahan Viker. Webster eased off it by Shaw. Now Delhi can drive forwards again. Conestabile likes it from that sort of angle if he has space for a shot. For a teammate instead. Fong. Gets the ball back in a dangerous position. Simmons. Now Stewart, who's flitted out to the left. Seems to have shaken off those injury problems that really did affect him towards the end of last season. Was in and out of the team heading into the finals. No such problems this year. Affected him at the start of the season a little as well. Fong's trying to give him something to run for here. That's well done by Sabat to take the ball off his toe. Well, not noted for his defensive quality, but certainly with that wherewithal and an ability to read the game for a wide player. So George City have looked comfortable in possession. They've stroked it around nicely. APIA have been intense with their press. It's that ball going forward that has really undone them. And Stewart might be able to make them pay. It's a good save by Kenny. Didn't give up the rebound either, with Ortiz and Conestabile both lurking. Done so well, Jack Kenny, since taking over the goalkeeping duties 3 years ago now as a teenager. He's really made that number 1 jersey his own since St George City's promotion, really. To the top tier, Mackenzie Ciron was the first choice the year they were promoted and darted down to Melbourne. There's no qualms about using him in goal. Now his teammate might give him something to defend, as Mitri can't repeat the heroics of last weekend from a rather simpler opportunity. Beautifully laid on by Mitchell. That's the sort of attacking impetus he can offer from left full-back. And Kalatz has gone right on over the top. The direct ball has sprung St George City. Ortiz faces up Erkan, who uses all his experience and defensive nous to time the challenge well. But Kalatz almost unpicked the defence with one straight ball over the top. The defence not set. The quick goal kick almost undid them. Sabah, this game's starting to open up just after the half-hour mark. And Sabah's away from Monge. His ball was cut off by Fong. And Kalatz happy to clear his lines again. Berry's touch lacking a little. It gave Ortiz a window to try and take the ball off him, but he was quick enough to close that off. St George City have rather stunted the celebrations somewhat with their performance so far. They've been bright. Team that's been turned over without 1 or 2 stars from this late season run. Those who have come in have applied themselves brilliantly. And the setup that Mickey Ural's gone to and has stuck with really during this change of fortunes in the 4-4-2 has worked wonders. Webster getting involved as one of the furthest forwards. All hands on deck. Clarkson. Fong's intensity wins the ball back for APIA. Ortiz's ball for Jordan takes him a little wide. Allows Monahan Vaika to recover. Ball picks out Conestabile at the edge of the box. Just skewing off the outside of his right boot and flying wide of the net. But if you want what APIA's blueprint has been this season, win the ball back in midfield and get it forward as quickly as possible. Just saw a beautiful example of it there. Not quite as precise as they can be, but not far from that. St George City taking their time to get the ball back in play, hence the whistle and the encouragement from Hayden Langholz for them to play their way out. This is what I mean by the fact they look tidy. All along their back four and into midfield. They've negated APIA's press largely, but then as soon as they do try and go forwards, the turnover has inevitably followed. From an APIA perspective, I think that means it's achieving its purpose. Simmons search for the opening goal on their crowning day, and Kenny just caught it awkwardly. Simmons drove that with so much power, and almost caught the goalkeeper out. And Ortiz keeps the attack alive. Stewart and Monge! Well, not a regular goal scorer. He wasn't too far from finding the corner there. And APIA have just raised their level a bit, gone to the next gear in the last 5 minutes. Just one league goal all season for Fabian Monge. That would have been very much a celebratory moment if he'd been able to add a second. He and Delhi have formed a very sharp holding midfield duo, and the fact is probably one of them will be dropped for next week to fit Eddie Caspers back into the team. More competition for places. Franco Parisi has that almost all over the field. Curry picking off Kalatz's loose pass forward. It's fair to say his footwork's been right on the money for the majority of the afternoon, to the point where he almost had an assist of his own. A few minutes ago. It's a gorgeous touch from Contestabo after Monge had won the ball back, and Ortiz down this right flank that he loves. I've seen that passage of play so many times in Presley Ortiz's APIA Leichhardt career, turning on the ball and darting down the right wing of Lambert Park. His team trying to support in counter-attack, playing as a hold-up here, and he can do that pretty smartly as well. Rotating the ball for Monge, returned by Guatemala. Stewart. The curling through ball, just not enough spin on it to hold up for Cameron Fong. Mr. Reliable for APIA Leichhardt at right full back, and capable of lending a hand in the attacking half when need be. It's as though that's going to be the case today. Drew City have been stout defensively. Continuing to try and play out, and this time it's not quite worked out for them, so Jack Kenny does go long. He's got a tremendous boot on him when he is allowed to just unleash it long up the field. Some of the smaller grounds, including Drew City's own at Princess Park, he can fire the ball a fair way into the opposition half from those goal kicks. Sure the camera caught that. Ibis flying through play, enjoying the action. Jordan. Tucked it inside too. He's just trying to find that ball to unpick the St. George City defence. Not successful this time. Simmons retreats. Shaw along with him. See those members of the APIA Leichhardt club totted around the Joe Marston stand. Well, they have something to cheer here. Stewart. There's a deflection, certainly struck Erkan's arm, and Ortiz finishes it off. 20 for the season for Presley Ortiz. A fitting goal scorer to open the celebrations here at Lambert Park. And he won't score too many simpler. Ball ricocheted to him, not many more than 6 yards out. Strokes the ball into the corner. And is he a step closer to the golden boot now?
The board and the goal scorer, number 9, Presley Ortiz.
Had a few in the cup. It's been by far his healthiest return in what is still a young career at just 23 years of age. It's got him in discussions for a gold medal or the like as well. Such has been his goal scoring form this season. Outstanding in the championship last year, and he might have gone to another level. The fact he's done it playing far less minutes than his competitors for the crown of top scorer in the competition this year because of the form of Oscar Gonzalez in mid-year. Scoring it better than a goal every 90 minutes. An emphatic return. Not an emphatic finish that time around, it didn't need to be. Curry leaving one in on short after no advantage developed. Referee was happy to take play back to that moment. was questions this year heading into the season about who would take top gong as the best striker in the competition after Alek Urasevski's departure. Well watching him today, I think. Still providing headaches for Jack Kenny and co as they try to play out. Although Ortiz has sort of run away with the individual on it, been plenty of frequent goal scorers behind him. Michael Conestabo scoring a trick against Sydney Olympic a few weeks ago. He scored double digits in all competitions this season. And you've got players capable like Jack Stewart, who's 7 goals this season, a bit of welcome addition. 6'4", Oscar Gonzalez when he was playing as a centre forward through the middle of the year. Monchu might have opened the scoring 5 minutes before Ortiz did just that. Dispossessed this time by the battling Luis Curé. Backhand for Mitri. 2 longest serving St George City players on the ball between one another there. Only 2 left from the promotion campaign back in 2022. They were grand final winners that year. So successful in their short history, St George City. Double winners back in NPL 3. That was the second of their promotions after getting out of State League, as it was then called. Mitri again. Just 2 league goals this campaign. It's second last week in a losing side against Sutherland, although St George City pushed them all the way, to the point where the controversial penalty shout late was waved away. So Sutherland's spot in the Australian Championship this year was confirmed. Waiting for the draw of that competition, which shouldn't be too far away. Interesting to see where APIA play their home games this time around, as Leichhardt's not going to be available to them. Goes a little bit of more than remedial work, having a grandstand to the northern end, be able to fit more patrons in, which APIA can continue to grow as a football club. We will be able to fill that side of the grandstand as well. Ortiz took it on his shoulder. According to the referee, Conestabo bundled over. That's off balance before the contact. Stewart still might have a crack. Didn't catch it cleanly with his left foot. And a wry smile on his face as he puts his into his hand as a visor.
Fourth official has called 1 minute extra time.
Try and search for where that ball had gone. He's got a sweet left foot, Jack Stewart. It's not his favoured one, but didn't quite strike that one as he would have liked. George City just be wondering how they gave him quite so much space. Got punished on that occasion. The chances starting to come more frequently for APIA Leichhardt. They've slowly broken St George City down. Got to make sure they're not open at the back either, though. Guatemala snuffing out another attack. Conestabo firing the ball forward to Jordan. Let the ball run into his heel. Recovers. Couldn't find Ortiz at the first attempt. Stewart again. Ortiz with Michio right in his back. And did well there, Michio. And Langholz saves himself the throw-in decision and draws it. An entertaining first half to a close. APIA started second best, it must be said, but worked their way into the game. Had a flurry of chances in a 10-minute period before Presley Ortiz finally opened the scoring. His 20th strike of the league campaign. It takes him level with Awan Lawal in the Golden Boot race. Let's see if he can overtake him with one more in the second half. Individual honours, as much of the focus as the team here for APIA on their coronation day, their day of celebration, which has started the right way. At half-time, it is APIA Leichhardt 1, St George City 0.
Every week, hundreds of thousands of people turn up around football grounds around New South Wales. Parents, kids, refs, coaches and volunteers. Cardiac incidents can happen to anyone at any time on the pitch.
Right now, not every club has a defibrillator.
And the ones that do are not always maintained or ready to use. In a critical moment, with a defib, that could save lives. That's why Football New South Wales, St John Ambulance and Toyota have come together for Every Beat Matters to help clubs around New South Wales to access defibrillators, cover maintenance and build a register so we know exactly where every unit is around the state. All you need to do is buy a ticket through Raffletix. $5 can make a difference. Every ticket goes towards funding defibrillators and maintenance for clubs that need it most. A live fundraising board shows exactly how much is being raised. And every ticket you buy puts you in the draw to win a Toyota Corolla. One ticket, real impact. Help your club be ready when it matters. So buy your ticket today.
For Fowler once again, heavy touch from Kunimoto will be punished here. Alfaro collecting possession, doing a great job. Ariensha now delivering low, falls there for Fowler through the legs, a chance to finish. Oh, Zach Fowler! Nothing foul about that. That is fresh. That is sweet. Good first effort here, potentially on the offering for Pelikanos, who didn't get anything onto it. Now Griffiths, lovely release. Constable for the corner! A cool, composed finish. Fowler can keep it in the field of play. Has a quick look. Space back through the middle. Big chance here for Glasson, who threads the needle and will claim it. It's gorgeous from Glasson. It's potentially glory for Sydney FC.
Through the left, here comes Choi. A burst of acceleration. He hits the byline. Nicolau with a header. Yanni Nicolau. The right back coming across the pitch into the penalty area, timing his run to perfection. Early ball, Hollingdale breaking out to the right flank. Riley Hollingdale, first time ball, McGowan making a low run and the tap in for Bonilla. Brilliantly worked by the Sutherland Sharks and they have a 2-0 lead. Here goes Solomon John Monahan Viker. Score now, there's plenty of time to go for St George City. The ball is left by Mitri, the return pass, brilliant goal! Paolo Mitri! What a good team move from St George City.
And it's Ono now, again, towards the near post. And it's headed, and it's in there! Ono with the corner, Nieuwenhof with the header, 22 minutes gone. And they're shaping up now for this free kick. Burgess, very interestingly, is kneeling down directly in front of the wall. I'm not sure I've seen that one before. But the free kick now is going to be taken. It's driven. Oh, it's beautifully driven into the bottom corner there. A fantastic free kick by Kakeru Ono.
Daru doing really well to keep that in, and he's found Noah Peacock in a bit of room. Peacock returning it to Ben Daru. It bounces awkwardly, and Daru is there again. Not to be denied twice, as Spirit take the lead in this crucial game.
What an opportunity for Jaden Casella to try and convert. Just 5 goals this league campaign. And it's saved by Henderson initially, and then Casella sticks in the rebound. Dream start for St George.
Keeping tight on Hernandez. It's still going for the Wolves, though. Here's Lachlan Scott. Looks to play it across. And the Wollongong Wolves have the lead. It's an own goal. Vidakovic under pressure from Masciavecchio, who's won the ball in a great position. Hernandez goes for a shot and finds the goal. Wollongong have a 2-goal lead. Calamity at the back for Western Sydney. Breaks away down the right. Can the Wolves really put themselves in a good position? Here's Beatty with a shot, which finds the bottom corner, and Wollongong have their third.
Found Busek, who found Yona. And Olympic are hanging on, but it might be ended here. Is that the goal that relegates Sydney Olympic and sees Marconi go into the top 2? It's Ahmed Elahu
Welcome back to Lambert Park. The second half of the final day just about to get underway. APIA Leichhardt taking the lead through who else but Presley Ortiz just before half-time, which took him level with Owen Lual in the Golden Boot race, but Lual has since scored for the Western Sydney Wanderers against Blacktown, so Presley needs a second for that individual honour, but it has got the mood around Lambert Park buoyant, which it was already coming in. Is even more expectant now for more entertainment in the second 45 minutes. Welcome back. My name is Alex Molchanoff, along with you for the celebratory day. Trophy left to follow the conclusion of the game here. There will be a little bit of a carnival atmosphere for the majority of the next week, 3/4 of an hour. Hopefully some pretty football to follow as well. But St George City who are providing it in the early stages. Lovely backheel from Mitri for Kuri, and then out wide, and a chance to try and find Webster. Sabar picks the ball up on the far side, darting past Stewart, not once but twice. Okan. Taken off his feet by Stewart, but couldn't get the referee's whistle to go his way. Substitution at the break for City, and Bjorn Pedersen, the Japanese striker, has been brought on for the second 45 minutes. See if he can add to his 5 league goals this season. Timber being sent forward for this set piece. Over everybody, Micho closest to it, but claimed comfortably by Kalat. Distribution in the first half was good. Simmons having to stretch to get there, and then looking to bend this ball in behind for Ortiz. He's done that beautifully. Sabat, who was a big part of winning the corner up the other end, stepping back there to do the defending. Pedersen replacing the 19-year-olds Malik Amin at half-time. Had a half chance first half to open the scoring, but Pedersen, who scored in the return between these two. St George City beat APIA at Penshurst Park in round 15. Can do the damage again. He did that inside 5 minutes of the start of that game. His Japanese counterpart that day, Hirota Demoto, who got the goals. Left APIA chasing their tails. They were chasing Marconi after the conclusion of that match. There was a thought that it might have thrust them right out of the Premiership picture. And there's a chance to answer here. Mitri has a tap in. 2 in 2 weeks. A slip from Kalat punished. Defence all at sea for APIA. It wasn't their tidiest moment, but St George City have seized upon that. And Paolo Mitri scored 1 goal all season until last week. He's doubled his money and then tripled it today. A popular goal.
St George won.
For St George City, one of their most loyal servants. Taking the chance. And we are all square again. Well, I mentioned in the first half St George City's fantastic record against the top 4 this season. The only team across the competition to have beaten all 4 of APIA, Marconi, Sydney United and Sutherland. And they are proving a headache on what is meant to be a comfortable day of celebrations. Probably never going to be that Mickey Earl team. Ultra competitive and performed to a level that's been a challenge for APIA today. his own mistake that's opened the door for them, though. Well, they look to spring forward and try and find their second goal of the afternoon. Going to need that if they're going to take all 3 points here. About the goal scoring records. Oh, and Conestabo, who wants to be careful, talked about the suspension that he picked up on the final day a year ago that saw him knocked out of the semi-final. Didn't take too kindly at all to Tariq Erkan. It can be an agitator, but generally played a part in just keeping things cool in the first half. And Conestabo is going to cop a talking to from Langholz, who probably was hoping that today wouldn't have an issue like this to sort out. He's managed to do it without bringing the cards out, which the players always appreciate. Call for cool heads. Conestabo, a premiership winner in back-to-back seasons. Spirit star last year, and he's matched in at APIA naturally. Anyone who'd watched him over the couple of seasons prior, after he managed to shake off the injury issues, would have expected. Edison, who really does possess that awareness and ability in the air, nodding the ball down for Curry, likes to run with it, but he's cut off by Jordan. I'll tell you what, there was sort of floating about this game in terms of where the momentum was and the intensity. It has specced right up at the start of the second half. Tense and tight, I don't think Franco Parisi and David DePruzzo will mind, but don't let it become fraught and tense. I still want to take the results at the end of all of it. Zara equalised that they've copped. Don't want to go behind against the odds. Saba and Conestabo is riled up, but he's been dispossessed by Mitri. Got a second bite here. Clarkson over to shut him down. Showing the cool head in the pass there to Delhi. Now flitting the ball out to the magic left foot of Sean Simmons. The magic has departed for now. Cut off by Webster, who knew what he'd seen this afternoon and knew what was coming. Curry into a battle with Simmons, who seemed to just wrestle him to the ground. Play on for now. And then a misplaced pass from Delhi. Well, everything that was looking sharp and superb from APIA in the first half, at the start of the second, they've been anything but that. Well short of their premiership standard. Webster's causing headaches again with his running in behind. Shaw there to cut him off. Can he prevent the corner? No. And so St George City are going to have an opportunity to swing in a set piece. To say the substitution of Pedersen, well, not impacting the goal directly, it's just giving them a little bit more of a focal point, and suddenly the APIA Leichhardt defence is seeing a lot more action than they would have been expecting. Curry has been a driving force of a lot of good for St George City today, over to take the corner. Deep it's towards Berry. He's got a handy knack of getting on the end of those crosses. Didn't quite make the contact he was looking for, and how about that? Opa from David Putzer. Possessed a pretty good first touch. That was right up there. Curry, clever touch. Clarkson. And Curry! Well, blocked by Shaw. It was beautifully positioned. Definitely blocking the ball, but sending it a fair way from goal as well. It's ricocheted out for a throw rather than another corner kick for APIA to defend. Remember, that was really a hamstring for them at the beginning of last season, and copying a lot of goals from set-piece situations. What to do with this long throw, which they haven't really. Mitri's there again! 2 in the 10 minutes after half-time. He's their hero. Paolo Mitri gives St George City the lead. They've flown out of the half-time break.
Wow, another goal for the away team.
Another celebration's about to be curtailed.
The goal scorer, number 10, Paolo Mitri. APIA Leichhardt 1.
The giant killing form of St George City may be set to continue. There's a lot of football left to be played here, but they've put themselves in a winning position again against one of the top 4. And the to-be-crowned premiers are behind. Suddenly the measured, at times pretty preparation they were doing for next week's semi-final has gone out the window in the space of 10 minutes here. And so Jack Stewart says, I'll take the ball on, and I'll combine with Rory Jordan, who looked to be the wrong side of the defence. The cross is cut off by Clarkson and then volleyed clear by Berry. And this is what Pedersen is offering, just a different challenge for Shaw and Guatemala. And you can hear the questions from the APIA players. I want to agree from the angle that I had on that one. Starting to turn into Jewish City Stadium as well. So APIA are going to have to fight their way out. That level of resilience, the team that are able to come from behind, but they've not done it as often as they did a year ago, because they haven't been in as many situations that they've needed to. But set 4, they avoided defeat today, APIA. A run of 2 months in league football without a defeat. So would be the first time they've been beaten inside 90 minutes since the 4th of July in that game against Sutherland. That's the extent they may well be facing in the semi-final next Sunday, depending on what happens in the elimination final on Wednesday night. Set down 4. Sutherland still waiting for their opponents there, but saying whoever they're playing, they'll be favourites to go through. Challenge from, well, 11th place coming into the afternoon. St George City is proving tougher than I'm sure a few expected. No changes made yet by Franco Parisi either. Wonder what the desire is to keep legs fresh and rested. Towards the hour, you'd think there'll be substitutions around the corner no matter what unfolds in the next few minutes. Maybe more desire for them to attack the game with a little more vigour than might have been the message at half-time. To say, a great story for Paolo Mitri, and a player who's been in and out of the team. That's what it's like to win a grand final. He did it all the way back with St George FC, rivals of St George City, playing behind Jason Romero in a team that won the NPL 2 grand final in 2018. Did it again in 2022 with this team. Stewart. It's a deflected cross, and it was awkward for Kenny. You see him wearing the cap there. The sunshine is low. Not sure it would have affected him directly that time around, but the spin on the ball, the ricochet, all a test. Better to be safe than sorry. Tips it over his crossbar. And is this APIA's route to an equaliser? Didn't think they'd be needing one of those today. Perhaps we should have expected it, given St George City's record, but they've copped off the line from Kenny, and the flag is up. It's a goal. Temba Guatemala knocks the ball in. The flick on from Simmons, found the big centre-back. And you talk about celebrations, this is a sweet one for Temba. A return from the ACL, the injury problems over the last month, and it is a real collector's item on the final day of the season to put APIA level.
The home team hits back. I think the goal scorer was number 15, Temba Guatemala. APIA Leichhardt 2.
Well, we talk about the precious individual honours that Presley Ortiz is chasing this afternoon. It's not too often that centre halves get their names on the score sheets. Guatemala will remember that one for a while. An added nicety. We talked about Mitri's being popular goals. That one at this ground may be the most popular of the lot. And Ortiz is looking for a second of his own, or helping out Jordan. Okan playing destroyer. And it may be satisfying for Parisi and his coaching staff that APIA have been tested to the point they have today, and that they've responded. The intensity and the application that the situation has required. Back to Guatemala's goal quickly. It's his first goal since the ACL injury. Followed him last year. And at the beginning of this season, there were discussions between he and Franco Parisi, I know, about just how quickly that he was going to return to play. Stewart's delivery, searching for Jordan. Onestabo there in support. Meeting a sandwich between two St George City players, but the challenge was tidy enough. And Mitri is full of confidence and so bursts forward with the football. Saba wide of him. A couple of options in the middle, and he's got the beating of Fong. Sure slices the ball clear. Now, those changes that we hinted at are about to arrive. So Franco Farinella has been a regular off the bench over the last couple of months. And given Michael Conestobo's little to and fro with Sarah Kirkan not 10 minutes ago, perhaps understandable that he's taken out of the firing line at this stage.
Substitution from APIA Leichhardt coming on, number 99.
Semi-final through suspension, and Sean Simmons worth the wait. The assist for the goal. This afternoon's work is done. Eijin Kishimoto is his replacement. More defending to do for APIA, though. I think it's going to be comfortable from here. They should have learned the lesson of the opening stages of this second half.
Coming on, number 4, Ishin still building Kishimoto.
Giveaway from St George City. You heard the groan as Jordan sprung clear with the football, and he's left the pass too late for Ortiz. He touches the ball, which he doesn't, but close enough to be involved. The flag is up. Jordan letting his striker down a little there, and he knows that. taking his time because there's a couple more substitutions here for St George City.
Substitution for St George coming on,
Ben
number
Berry
41.
to be removed.
Hizazi.
And a big moment. We mentioned this might happen in the first half.
And number 17,
Haidar Hiyazi
Mason Tatafu.
getting his debut. It's a nice moment. Stand on the bench for a game against Sutherland 3.5 months ago, and now he sees his first team minutes for St George City. Mason Tatafu is in a familiar face. Another replacement. Rejig of the St George City backline. Hope they can find a few more goals before the day is over. To get to grips with the likes of Ortiz and Farinella and Jordan and Stewart as quickly as possible. APIA have refound their swagger, striking the ball around with the confidence that was apparent in the early stages of the first half. Disappeared for the start of the second. Feld. Could have been a foul in the build-up, but Ortiz is beaten Tatafu to the ball. Fresher legs the defender, but Ortiz just a little sharper. Can't say the same with Jordan. Sloppy turnover. He's helped to win it back though. Falling back to his number 9. Dispossessed by Weber. So he's going to fight for the ball in the corner. He's lost out. A hold of Ortiz, but referee Langholz has been patient. Taking all positions in their career on that. Kishimoto for Stewart. Striding forward, no one in attendance until Michio was there and timed his challenge to perfection. Here's a chance for the debutant. Yassi down the left, inside for Pedersen, and on for Webster, sorry. Curry. Just evading Pedersen, who was the lone runner. The angle was right. Height of the cross just out of the St George City striker's reach. Speaking, not used to high scoring games between these two. The 3 that were scored in that game we mentioned earlier. Nice for a little while between these two. Mitri had his shot blocked. Webster, Erkan turning, looking for options. Clarkson. Michio. Yassi. The youngster against the experienced Japanese defender, and he's got the better of Kishimoto. Now Guatemala stepping in. Saturday night, another fine afternoon after being restored to the first team for the game against Sydney United. Some calf issues over the last month. Again, it's not looked as though he's missing a beat. Mitri and Yassi can't chase that one down. Substitution for Parisi, and it's to remove Roy Jordan for Jordan Segreto. Brought back in during the registration window. Regular off the bench in the second half of this campaign.
substitution for APIA Leichhardt coming on the
Quite
gun.
been in the goal-scoring form that he
Number
was in a year
17,
ago,
Jordan
Segreto,
Segreto.
but still able to pop up with a goal.
Coming
Still
off
knows
number
where the back
11,
of the net
Rory
is.
Jordan. APIA Leichhardt 2, St George 2.
3 goals in limited games he has played for APIA this year is still a very solid return. Tamalo too strong for Pedersen and getting the referee's whistle. Been a couple of heads turned looking for decisions this afternoon from both sides that haven't come. Discussion continuing as St George City get ready to lob the ball in towards their race scoring hero, Paolo Mitri. Ball taken off his toe by Kishimoto. Hoisted away by Stewart. Headed back in by Mitchell. Kishimoto with a rare misjudgment of his leaping abilities. And again, to the APIA's disbelief, the throw goes St George's way. Farinella's fight has given a chance to at least get the ball out of their own end. Struggled to do that for the last 5 minutes or so. St George City have done well in just applying pressure, their own desire to press and confidence on the ball today. That's been a notable improvement from them. This run towards the end of the season that's been so promising. Repeated here at Lambeau Park against a team who pride themselves on playing that way. Stewart switch, right on the money. Segreto's touch let him down. A difficult first touch since coming on, it must be said. Fong keeps the attack alive. Delhi. Monge, Farinella. To Fong, who's switched out to the left to accommodate Kishimoto in the back line. So what a meteoric rise he's had this year. Cameron Fong once off St George City. On his old club today. It's a toughie with a really clever ball over the top. Right to the feet of Kuri. Piyasi and Mitri. What a second half he's had. Piyasi faced up by Muatamalo. He got the better of Kishimoto a moment ago and he's... Oh, looked as though he'd knocked the ball off Muatamalo. It wasn't the case.
Oh!
The final series starts on Wednesday night. The 2 elimination finals will be streamed where you found this one on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. And then APIA Leichhardt fans, next Sunday is your turn to show it. We'll have match details up at footballnewsouthwales.com.au early this week. See just when to get to Lambert Park and see if APIA can win their way to Jubilee Stadium in the grand final. Segreto switch for Stewart. Well, the 2 wingers combining, they couldn't quite come up with the end product, but there's more promise from APIA. And now some attention being shown to the young man making his NPL debut today. Piazzi looking in the best way, unfortunately. See so many dream moments like this for youngsters who've worked their way to play at the top level of New South Wales football. Want it to become an unhappy memory, but just wait and see whether he's able to continue. Certainly a sore one by the looks of things. Stayed out for a long time in back play there. Piazzi. his well-being for the moment. Everybody taking on water while he receives his treatment. Dates from elsewhere. Marconi and Spirit still locked at 1-1 after Marconi equalised through Ahmed El Helou just before half-time. So that means that Sydney United look as though they're going to jump them into second spots at the minute. 3-0 up against St George. Marconi are going to have to find a winner against Spirit. Sydney FC leading against Sydney Olympic, which means they could jump Spirit into 6th spot and finals football. Manly United 3 to the good against Wollongong and look as though they'll secure their spot, make that 4 to the good. With some players out today, been troubled by Luke Wilkshire's side to threading themselves through the Australian Championship. Unfortunately, this looks as though it's going to be the end of the road for Huyatsi on his NPL debut. So that's something you never like to see in Sporting League. Offering a hand as he makes his way off. So it's going to be one debutant for another. 17-year-old Eduardo Darvas.
Number 27, Eduardo Darvas.
Making his NPL 1 debut for St George City. Look to the future for Mickey Earl and his staff today. In terms of what they brought off the bench. Ryan Viker with the most space in front of him he's seen this afternoon. Cross too deep for Pedersen, who appreciated the effort, if not the execution. Erkan's hopeful ball is cut out rather simply by Fong. He's there to try and screen in front of his defence. The ricochet went APIA's way though. Stewart chasing down the ball forward from Farinella. Stewart ducking on his left. It's, well, a little unorthodox. It bounced awkwardly. Stewart had another go. And now Ortiz might have a third. Plays it off for Farinella. Monge. Bit of recycle with Kishimoto, but the ball was asking too much of him. George City happened to see the ball squirm over the touchline. Couple more, probably the last 2 subs of the day for APIA Leichhardt. So Monge taken off, Levi Soriaga to be brought on, and Jack Stewart as well to be rested for these last few minutes.
Coming on, number 23, Levi Soriaga.
A player we've seen named for Franco Parisi a few times, getting his opportunity as well, and Christian Lombardo.
Also coming on for APIA, number 31.
Wondered whether we might see another one of these talented under-20s today. Is the option, the exciting winger.
Christian Lombardo.
He can find their first NPL moments of magic. For the Morona Azzurri. Azzurri, as I've seen them labelled a few times as well for the last few months. Just over 10 minutes to play St George City. Because though they might be grasping another result against one of the table's toppers this season. They've had a big say in the title race because of all the results they have been able to get against the teams chasing the Premiership. This one without the same meaning because of the fact that APIA have already wrapped up the Premiership, but just throwing another little spanner in the works before finals football gets underway. Can they hang on? Is the question for the last 10 minutes or so. And Viker stretching to clear there, he did it well. Can ask too much of Pedersen. Tamala just swings the ball high in the air. Pedersen, 2 clever touches. The second laid it off for Kuring. Who can straight forward Louis Kuring. Foot just shown backwards by Guatemala, and then Delhi going through him to win the ball, but concede the throw rather than the free kick. The war's at different times today. Louis Curry's thrown himself about. been admirable traits of most of the St George City team today. It's before you get into the footballing quality that they've showed, which has been both in their mentality, the way they've set themselves up, the discipline and organisation, but also the creativity they've showed at different points, and then the opportunism they showed to score the first goal. That carried them level with APIA after they went into the break trailing by 1-0. Thanks to Presley Ortiz. And now a chance for Kishimoto to get forward. Doesn't get too many of these. Can he sum it up? Finds Lombardo. He's happy to play the ball into Tatafu and win his side the corner. See how desperate APIA are to pick up all 3 points here. Holding on for the draw would take them beyond the 65 points they earned to win the 2023 Premiership. Not sure if that's been spoken about at all this week. Secreto's header. Shaw flicks it on. Guatemala's got one already this afternoon. He's got a taste for it. Not able to get there before Tatafu. To get through without incident now. All falls for Farinella. Ortiz. The golden boot race going to be the thing we're talking about at the end of the day. Linking up with Suriaga. He'd love a goal himself. Delhi recycles. Kishimoto. Oh, and Ortiz is there. He's got a second. And APIA have the lead back. 21 league goals for the year. Kishimoto found him brilliantly, right on the head. And Kenny's beaten for a third time.
APIA Leichhardt 3.
The opening goal of the game, and he may well have bookended the afternoon with a second. Season 2, remember, for Presley Ortiz. And an assist from Kishimoto that was of the highest quality. A ball whipped in and ready-made for a striker to attack, and he did just that. Louis Curry removed so that Hugo Makatir, well, they got high hopes for it. St George City can get some minutes on the final day as well.
Hugo Makatir.
Had to fight tooth and nail today, APIA. And Ortiz could make his way forward and try and win the golden boot with a hat-trick. But Tatafu keen to spoil that bit of the party. It's been an entertaining watch. You expect that on the final day of these games, particularly when both are able to play with as much freedom as APIA and St George City have today. It's been a really good watch. Goal has taken Ortiz level again with Awalualu opened the scoring for the Wanderers today against Blacktown City. They lead 2-0. Do you think APIA aren't too fussed about the results of this game? They're barking at officials and coaching staff at trying to thrust their team forward. It's just a flourish there from David Depuzo. He's trying to keep the intensity in his team all the way to the finish line. Check up on the competition regulations, but it's decided it the way it is in a few other leagues around the world. Then Ortiz will take the golden boot because he's going to have scored his 21 goals in less minutes than Awad Lawal. That's either way. It's going to be a prized achievement in his young career, regardless. had some freedom to allow him to chase that today because of the way they locked up the Premiership last weekend against Sydney United. 4 in the press for St George City as to pressure Shaw. And there's the miscue from Fong. Mitri, who's looking for his hat-trick. Might have laid it on for Webster. Fires over the crossbar. The prostrate body of Themba Moatamalo is still stretching and fighting in there. Well, was frustrated with how slowly St George City were playing at different times during the first half, and now taking his time over the restart. It's Route 1 stuff. Subiaga was to the contest and actually won it, but concedes the throw. Nodded on by Pedersen. Webster's there again. Mitri. Not quite a third. Not able to test Kalats that time. Worry about going short has been well and truly dispensed with. It's a nice challenge from Darvas. You can see why he's been called up. The ball in behind for Webster's not bad either. His cross lacking the cutting quality needed to trouble Ollie Kalats. Ortiz's second goal of the afternoon is taken APIA level with their own goal tally from the 2023 Premiership campaign. Actually less than they scored a year ago. Finishing second to Spirit. Ortiz, this would be a final flourish. He's laid the ball on for Lombardo, who gets his first NPL goal to put the cherry on top. Laid on beautifully and unselfishly by Ortiz. A moment to remember for Christian Lombardo, who took his chance with both hands, and a cool head, really.
Another goal for the home team, the young gun.
And APIA striding away. They have overcome the challenge, which has been put to them gamely by St George City, but the celebratory feel has returned to Lambert Park because of the flowing football they've been able to produce in the final 20 minutes, which is going to hand them 3 more competition points. Christian Lombardo may well be their final scorer of the 2026 season, regular season anyway. Suriaga would like to add his name to the score sheet as well. He found Ortiz, trying to sub him up for his hat-trick. To make sure there were no doubts about who won that golden boot. It should be coming his way. Segreto. Back heel cut out. They're enjoying their football now, APIA. The hard work has been done. Allowing them to play with a bit of a flourish towards the end of the game. Like so much of St George City's season, an interesting cap on this because of the record we've talked about, and I feel as though I've talked about ad nauseum, so apologies for that. But because of the quality that they've shown against these higher level of opposition, they've just run out of that little bit of quality when the game has demanded it off them, if they really were to take the game away from APIA. Never really looked as though they were going to be able to do that. Segreto. And now we are just moments from the end of St George City's season. Can't imagine too much time to be added on to delay the lifting of the Premiership trophy too much longer. ticking away. Delaying. He's sitting there waiting for them, and will be trundled out in front of the Joe Marston Pavilion to be lifted for the 7th time. And on a winning day where they've had to fight from behind, funnily enough. It's just another tool they've got in their kit bag, a bit of fight and heart to add to all the attacking quality, all the depth. And this young star, Ortiz, well blocked by Michio this time. 4 minutes more of the 2026 regular season at Lambert Park. And perhaps a chance for a 5th goal from an APIA Leichhardt perspective. Or perhaps a goal back for St George City. Here he's got 1 league goal this season. Like to add a 2nd in the shadows of full time. Lovely little body feint, just protecting the football as Delhi does in turn. Stretching pass misplaced. Pedersen showing his talents. All over the top's not bad. It's given Webster something to run for. McIntyre to the back post where Jackson's waiting. Most of the St George City substitutions. Michio fires wildly. Talk about players not regular scorers. Michio gets in enough attacking situations that doesn't mind a crack, and never troubling Kalats that time. And the 20s are waiting to celebrate with them in commemorative t-shirts. There's a whole bag of them ready to be unveiled and celebrated in tonight. George City with hope for the future. 5th place finishes their first 2 seasons in the First Division. Denied finals football in 2023 because of the scrapping of the Championship Series for just that season. Managed to repeat the trick a year later and finish 5th. Lost in an elimination final against Blacktown City. They'll be hoping to return to those heady heights next season. Can they find 1 more goal for the season compilation in the dying stages? Not with that pass from McIntyre, which is cut off smartly by Fong to release Ortiz, cut off by Tatafu. Monahan Viker can't swing his cross in. Shout of frustration. Langholz with a single finger to the air. 60 seconds until APIA are officially crowned 2026 premiers. Tafu over the top of Ortiz. McIntyre just not been able to get the ball to do what he's asked of it at different times since coming on. Sydney FC have managed to draw against Sydney Olympic, and that leaves Spirit in the final of 6 finals places. Looks as though Marconi are going to have to host an elimination final against Spirit. So 2 games in less than a week for those 2. Meeting in the final round and then in a knockout elimination final on Wednesday. Mitri, Pedersen. Oh, this is lovely, and Mitri denied his hat-trick by a very good save from Kalat. Still a chance to deliver again. Darvas's ball is cleared away. Still Mitri searching for a 3rd. Dispossessed by Muatamalo. Segreto releases Suryaga. And there's nobody between Lombardo and goal if he can get there quick enough. Oh, he tried to be unselfish and return the favour to Ortiz. That's been the attitude of APIA. It's let them down this time, but it's led them to the Premiership. A performance of Premiers and a healthy hand for their home side, who had to fight from behind on the day.
Final score
to really
APIA
savour
Leichhardt
that celebratory feeling at the end of it all. 2 for Presley Ortiz. He'll be level winner of the Golden Boot. An individual
for the presentation. We're going to be honouring
honour to savour.
first grade teams,
A terrific late save from Kalas as well for him to sign off from 2026. A lot of tired legs, but a lot of happy hearts here at Lambert Park. The final score, APIA Leichhardt 4, St George City 2. Players begin to gather, having a good old look at that famous old trophy. Their names will be etched on it for a 7th time and 2nd under Franco Parisi. Assistant David Apuzzo. In fact, they've won the 20s as well. It's just a summation of successes flowing through this football club at the moment. Now the challenge to win a 2nd trophy of the year, but to savour this one first, as Sean Simmons will be given first crack in front of the Joe Marston Pavilion. A couple of dummies, testing the weights, all that sort of good stuff. A 3rd for Simmons in his time at APIA. A 3rd as well for Temba Mwata-Malo. A happy day for him. A first goal since his return from the ACL injury. Jack Stewart, a smiling face. Eddie Caspers has found time to put the boots on despite not being in the squad today. No doubt he'll be a big part of the semi-final next weekend. They take on the lower-ranked elimination final winner from Wednesday night's 2 games. Plenty of stuck around for this, both in that Joe Marston Pavilion and on the near sides. Friends and family around, but the players alone adorned in winners' white and gold around that famous old Premiership Cup. There's a few bottles of different liquids around the trophy. Jack Stewart's inviting a few across. There is going to be a welcoming of a few more in. Seiya Kamiyashi's made his way in. And Sean Simmons making sure every single one of the squad and the staff that have been a part of this victory. David DePuzzo's there. Select committee members as well. All played a part. And finally, Franco Parisi and Adrian Ucino are going to make their way into the centre circle. A few more entourage, but this is a moment for the players and their coaches. Champions a year ago. And this time, they've been the best after 30 rounds of home and away football, of an odyssey to the top, where they weren't always favoured. An afternoon of celebration where the football was played in the right way. No doubt this celebration's about to be conducted just as enthusiastically. Well, you won plenty of these as a player, Franco Parisi, but I wonder just how much more satisfying continued success as a coach so early in his career. Straight out of pulling the boots off into the dugout, and the adjustment has looked as smooth as silk. Winning has followed. It's just an effort now to gather a few more around. They're showing plenty of patience in just waiting to make sure everybody's around for this big moment. As sweet as championships and grand finals are, it is a longer, harder road to win one of these. Championships are about opportunism, taking your chances. Premierships are built brick by brick, stone by stone, over the course of weekends and very long weeks. Most of these players semi-professional. Michael Cooter at the centre of celebrations. I'm very surprised if his didn't start a little earlier, given he was kept out of the squad today. Focus on the finals from a playing perspective, but a celebration of this achievement first.
If we could just have the 14 stay together, please. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying around today. This is a massive day for our club. We've got 3 teams from this season ending up premiers. Let's acknowledge everyone, starting with the number 14s. Coached by Angelo Roddick and Zach. Great season, guys. Of course, the 20s. Where are the 20s? Another great season for the 20s. Congratulations.
Another acknowledgement of the success of their youth teams as well, that have performed so highly this season.
Our first grade team, we couldn't be any prouder. Long season, coached by Frankie and Davey.
Sure,
it's been a great season.
Stuck in there already. Adrian Ucino has finally made his way to the centre circle, embraced by, well, it seems almost every player.
Ange, I think you need to come over and say a few words, please. Come on, big boy.
Franco Parisi making sure this is everybody's moment. Winners' medals there in the circle as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Angelo Roddick.
Afternoon all. Big congratulations to the 14s. Fantastic season.
14s just taking their moment now.
Premiership as a coach.
And a premiership there, and the first grade players paying tribute to them.
Also congratulations, mate, massive year. And to the first team, Franco Paps. Super effort, guys. I've been doing a great job for a couple of years. Keep on the good work, and let's see if we can all maybe win a grand final. Congrats, everybody.
Marcus Biviano. Julian Parisi. Brando Fiamma. Maui.
We'll leave you in the hands of the MC now.
Jaden.
Heading into this big moment for APIA.
Marco.
As their first grade sides.
Frankie.
Lift a 7th.
Kingston. Ethan. Larson. Ross and Lucky. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Under 14s. I'd like to call the 20s to come over, please. Dean Tabbitt. A huge acknowledgement to Dean Zammit. This guy puts so much time and effort into the club, countless hours. He's here all the time. He's committed. He loves our boys. He's a great communicator. Big round of applause for the 20s coach, Dean Zammit.
Thank you. Firstly, congratulations to the 14s. Fantastic season, incredible to watch all year. Congratulations to the first team, Frankie and Davey. They set the standards and they make sure we win fucking everything, and we've done that. And the 20s boys, what a season. Record points, winning it 4 or 5 weeks ago. Some of the football you played throughout the year is fantastic. But like I've always said, we've got 2 more weeks to go, and we want to make sure we're champions at the end of that. But incredible achievement, and look forward to the next 2 weeks. So thank you, everyone. Gary. Lombardo. Christian. Luke. Harry. AP. Trop. Nathaniel. Seva. Lombardo. Cruz. Filato. Tyrone. Eve. Henry. Piva. Cotta. Ali. Tony, the manager. And Joey Piazza.
Big round of applause for our premiership winning 20s. And now for first grade. Frankie, come over, please say a few words.
I'll be very quick. We do want to celebrate. Thank you to everyone being here today, but not just today, all season, in every moment. So, without everyone here, it's just not the same. Thank you to everyone involved in the club, behind the scenes, in the scenes. It takes a lot of work to get to this level, and we're here talking about the 14s, the 20s, the first grade, but there's so many teams doing well, there's so many good people, so many good things happening at this club, and it's only going to get better. So to be a part of that is an honour. To be able to talk today is an absolute privilege. So let's get into it.
I'm going to call the boys one by one. You're going to get your medal from Hey Jude, and then we're going to sing, and we want everyone in the middle be prepared to get ready. Frankie, Levi, Alex, Presley, Franz, Christian, Shawnee, Ollie, Navid, Temba, Eugene, Michael, Alex, Kyle, Freddie, Fabi, Mikey, Saya, Cameron, Ali, Jordan, Stewie, Jordan, Yo-Yo, Antonio, Rory, Andy, Hugh, Michael, Sam, Sergio, Christian, Isaiah, Daps.